Good evening, guys, and happy Tuesday to all of your sunshiny faces. Guys, I am a little bummed out. I actually woke up early this morning. I woke up at 9 o'clock, I think, and I took the puppies outside because, or no, I didn't. I think I woke up around like 9:50. And my mom had something going on this morning, and she was going to need uninterrupted time in her office. And so I was like, oh, I gotta take the dogs out before, 10 o'clock rolls around. And she needed that time where, again, I can't be walking through there to go and take the dogs outside because that's where the back door is, and so I was like, oh, quick, gotta go do it. So I did, and then she was in her bedroom, I think, or something. And so I was like, I didn't even need to, wake up and hurry up and get them outside and everything like that. But it was good. I was actually up early this morning. So, yeah, like I said, that ended up happening. Now it's almost 1 o'clock, which I think it's later than I went to bed last night. But I think it's because I should be tired right now, and I'm actually not, which is weird. I think it was because I had a Coke for dinner, with my dinner tonight. And yeah, now I am regretting that because I should be exhausted and should have been tired enough to have gone to bed at 10, 11 o'clock, and I was like, oh, I'm almost wide awake right now. And also too, I ended up eating some raspberries at about 11 o'clock and was like, well, I can't go to bed right now because I just literally ate, and I'm gonna wind up with an upset stomach if I go to sleep after I just ate this. I was like, I'm gonna need at least a little bit of time. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll go get ready by 12 o'clock, and now it's 1 o'clock. So yeah. Also too, I hate brushing my teeth right after I've eaten something. So that's why I was like, well, I could go to bed right now. And I was like, but I literally just finished eating these. I was like, and you know what, just tastes gross. Like right after you eat something and then you brush your teeth, it's ugh, I need to wait at least a little bit of time before my mouth still has the taste of whatever you just ate, and then you're adding toothpaste to it. I don't know, it just grosses me out sort of. I have to wait on that taste sort of not just being in my mouth. So anyways, yeah. But I did wind up, I actually edited today while I was watching the Cubs game, and I didn't end up getting to a whole ton of other stuff today. But I just felt I don't know, better because I was actually up earlier, but I was sort of tired. But actually it's weird too, I wasn't exhausted. And the other thing too is that on Sunday night, or no, yes, Saturday night going into Sunday, and then during the day on Sunday, I only got 5 hours of sleep that night. And then Sunday, I was actually surprised I was not more tired. Not being able to function sort of tired. I was actually okay. Some days I'm so tired where I'm I either have to go to bed really early, or I just have to lay in bed and watch TV. I can't function enough to do anything else. I didn't feel like that actually really on Sunday, which was weird. But I also just laid around pretty much and watched the football games. But I never was oh my gosh, my eyes are I'm dozing off or something like that. That'll happen sometimes too. But that also wasn't totally me fake dozing off. I have something in my eye. Oh, that was what all the blinking was. So anyways, yeah, I got my sales papers though. I went over the ads sort of and was sort of working on that. Like I said, I also edited today, and then I also ended up sort of doing a load of laundry. I had stuff that I did yesterday, and then I threw it in the dryer and it wasn't totally dry, so I ended up, well, I washed the dog's comforter, which normally lays in the hallway floor for her to sleep on, and so it wasn't completely dry because normally whenever the way our washing or our dryer works is that it's a sensor, so it senses when the stuff in the dryer is dry, which is really cool and actually really accurate. And I think it's totally more energy efficient because you're not just oh, I think it's going to take an hour to dry this stuff or whatever. And I've honestly rarely, other than on days when I think it's really humid, which might play a role into that, do I ever notice the clothes not coming out dried, or which is the case with the like comforters and blankets and stuff like that, is if they get wrapped inside of themselves because they're so big, you know, it doesn't like distribute them like evenly, if that makes sense, like it does with like loose clothes, because everything's like an individual piece. But like with a big blanket or comforter or whatever, it doesn't do that, and so like it'll wind up getting wrapped up and the inside will still be wet but the outside's dry, and the dryer senses that that's dry, so it just is like, okay, I'm gonna turn off, you know, and stop drying, but the inside isn't actually done. So normally I just take it out, flip it, sort of like pull the wet part out, throw it back in there, and then I'll run it for a set amount of time, normally like about 20 to 30 minutes, and then it's normally dry by then. So, and it depends too on like the amount, like if it was like really not dry, the dryer like literally was like, oh, this is already dry, and it was not, and then I might have to put it in for longer. But for the most part it actually works pretty well. Like I said, the blankets are probably the only thing, or again, like if I have like a long sleeve shirt like I'm wearing now, and the shirt sleeve gets wrapped up in a pair of pants and all tangled up and tied up sort of together or something like that from either being in the washing machine or in the dryer, and you know, and then there's other stuff too, and there's you know, the strings from like the like a sweatshirt or something like that, and then that gets all tied up, and then like everything gets clumped up. That's sort of the same thing too, because it's not like separated, it's all clumped into one thing. It doesn't get dried, and again, the dryer thinks it's dry because it can't tell that, you know, this stuff is all packed up in here not drying. So, but other than that, it is actually really smart, and I do really like our washer and dryer. We've had it for 5 years, I think now, close to that. And like I said, I also really like the washing machine because it sort of does the same thing as well. If I have a small load, it detects how much water to use versus like a bigger load, and it will do that all on its own, so I don't have to think or be like, oh, that sort of looks like a small load, or oh, that sort of looks like a big load, you know, and then having it be a bigger load than what I think it is, and then it needing more water and being like, oh, these clothes are literally not clean because we didn't have enough water. The only thing, I think washing machines now might have this capability, I don't know entirely because I don't have an insanely new washer, because like I said, mine's about 5 years old now, but there are some of those ones that are now like smart washers. I don't know how the smart washer works because it doesn't load itself up. You still have to do that. One thing that I think some washing machines have the capability to do now was what I thought I saw like from commercials and stuff like that, is that you can load the entire bottle of like detergent, fabric softener, or whatever, and then I think it's sort of the same technology. It figures out based on the load, you know, how much fabric softener or detergent to use or whatever, and then will distribute that evenly or whatever. Because sometimes if I'm using a more expensive brand like Tide or something like that, I actually, and like let's just say it's a big load, I'll probably wind up using less than what I would the same stuff if it was like a cheaper brand. Like I'll probably fill the you know, lid up pretty high with that if it's a big load, but with Tide I probably won't do as much. So like that's the only thing. And sometimes again, I'm like, I don't really know, like, is this like a large load, is it a small load? Like again, I have to do some guessing. Thought that was sort of like one of those features that they wind up having now, I guess, is like a smart washer. But ours is, like I said, pretty smart because it's not considered a smart washer or whatever, where like it's connected to your phone and stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about. Like it's trying to make technology like so, but like the thing is that we still have to load the clothes into the washing machine, so it can't be that smart. Like, you know, like that's the point, is that like technology is like literally at some point maybe, but not going to be smarter than us having to actually put the clothes into the washing machine. And that's like a thing where like, how smart can a washing machine be? Like again, there's capabilities to it that makes it sort of smart, but it's never going to like not need humans, if that makes sense, to sort of do its work for it. Probably eventually at some point we'll have something that literally like winds up, you know, sorting our clothes through like a huge, you know, like laundry chute thing or something like that through a house. But for the time being. And I don't see, like, you know, again, like your like locks on your door, your thermostat, all that kind of stuff, like that can be smart, like that makes sense. But like the washer and dryer to me are just something that doesn't make sense at all. Or like I think there's like smart capabilities for like what's it called, ovens and stoves and refrigerators and stuff like that. Like to me, I'm just like, it needs to be set at one temperature. Like, you know, like I need to pick that, you know, sort of thing. And it just doesn't make sense to do it on my phone. And I never leave the like oven going while I'm not here, you know, so like that to me doesn't make sense. Like, oh, preheat it while I'm not here, like that would terrify me. I'm sorry. I wouldn't want that to happen. Too much risk of a fire if I'm not here to watch that. Like what happened to my grandma one time was she had a towel, like a hand towel on the door, like what's it called, like handle, and it ended up actually inside of it on accident. Like that's the kind of stuff that like you have to be there to make sure that kind of stuff doesn't wind up happening when you're dealing with fire. So yeah, that's kind of a scary thing. And sort of the same with the dryer. Like I don't like it going when I'm not here. I don't like to leave it on. Most appliances actually.